So yesterday I looked at trapping focus within a container element such that the user can use tab navigation to leave the boundaries of a given container. This kind of workflow would be very helpful within a modal window where you don't want the user to tab navigate outside of the modal. Today I wanted to follow up with an exploration of the use of the ActiveElement property to record and then subsequently restore focus to an element that is outside of a modal window. So if I start to tab navigate, you can see that I can highlight these buttons, and if I click enter or space to trigger a modal, you will see that I draw focus into the modal window as demonstrated by these dotted lines, and you can see through the backdrop here that the focus has been taken away from button number 2. And now if I navigate to the close and I hit enter, you see that we close the modal window and then we return focus to that trigger button. You can see down here in the console that we took focus away from the second one and then returned focus to the second one. Now we can continue to navigate with our tab key, and I can open this modal window, and of course I can close it, and again we're restoring focus to the trigger button. So let's take a quick look at the code to see how that works. So here are my trigger buttons, and here is my modal, which will remain closed by default. And we go ahead and get our references to our triggers, our modals, and our panel, which is just the content area within the modal. And you see that I'm assigning a tab index of -1 to the modal panel. This way I can focus it programmatically. That is the dotted line here that shows up on that panel. Now, when we go to open the modal window, we're going to use this ActiveElement property on the document. I'm ORing it with a default of the body because according to the Mozilla documentation, this can sometimes be null, but I don't understand necessarily the cases under which it is null. So we're just going to default to the document.body. This is being stored here in a global variable so that we can reference it across the different functions in our demo. So I then use the class here with the BEM style BEM style naming to open the modal, and then I draw focus away from the trigger button and into the panel. Then when the user goes to close the modal, what you'll see is that I remove that BEM style class, that closes the modal, and then I check to see if I have a non-null value, which I guess in retrospect I will always have a non-null value because I'm defaulting to body, so that's a mistake in the demo. But what you'll see here is that I'm calling focus on that previous element so as to draw focus back to the original trigger button that the user used to initiate the modal workflow, which, as we can see, creates a nice tab navigation workflow because now I can continue to use my tabs and pick up exactly where I left off after the modal window is closed. So just some more exploration of some accessibility stuff. I'm by no means good at any of this. This is me just trying to figure it out as I go and learn from the various resources that I've picked up along the way.